He would go around with money and ask to take photos of the kids' feet.
I'm sorry, yes, the kids' feet.
Yes.
The children's
Feet.
Feet. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
their toes.
Okay.
And I remember thinking it was weird and silly almost as a kid. And I remember my mom going, "Don't go over there."
Hello, Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of England here. Now, Nickelodeon is one of the most beloved networks of all time. Many of us have fond memories watching shows like Rugrats or Kenan and Kel. The company was an undisputed powerhouse of entertainment, largely thanks to Dan Schneider. Dan not only created, but was also a writer for Victorious, The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, iCarly, and more. He was one of, if not the most successful television producers in recent memory. His tenure as showrunner enabled Nickelodeon to stay at the top for over 2 decades. However, in March 2018, the company abruptly cut ties with him. It turns out there was a slew of allegations that he hypersexualized the young girls on his shows and displayed abusive behavior towards others. Sadly, the stage curtains on set were hiding something sinister for years. This is how Dan Schneider became Nickelodeon's biggest scandal. Now here's a word from today's sponsor, Kamikoto. Kamikoto makes great high-quality Japanese steel kitchen knives using traditional techniques. They only use steel sourced from mills in Japan. Each knife is individually inspected and comes with a lifetime guarantee. The knives come in a heavy-duty ashwood box, which makes for a great present. Their product range features a vast array of Japanese steel knives, such as the 3-piece Kanpeki knife set that comes with the Nakiri vegetable knife, the slicing knife, and the utility knife, as well as the Kamikoto Santoku blade. Because of their single beveled edge, Kamikoto knives can cut through even the thickest slices of meat like butter. They are such high-quality knives that Michelin star chefs all over the world use them. I've been using Kamikoto knives for about a year now and absolutely love them. They are always on display in my kitchen because they look so stunning. I usually use them to cut vegetables every week when I meal prep. The Japanese steel is super sharp and they are the best knives I've ever used in my entire life. They still look brand new after about a year of continuous use. Kamikoto is now running a Black Friday sale and is offering my viewers an extra $50 off any purchase with discount code AJ on top of their special offers. Go to kamikoto.com/AJ to get your set of knives and help support the channel. Now back to the video. Dan Schneider's goo pop scene starring Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney Spears' younger sister, was extremely alarming. She was the lead in Zoe 101, which first aired in January 2005. In one of the episode's Backpack, Schneider included a scene in which a goo pop blasted all over her face as if she was Riley Reid.
Here, then have another goo pop. Thanks. I don't know why the other one squirted out like that. All I do is squeeze a little like this.
Appallingly, Dan had the scene redone multiple times. Mind you, Jamie Lynn was only 13 years old when the episode aired. It was inappropriate and highlighted the perversion lurking behind the camera. I mean, if he could do this to mega celebrity Britney Spears' younger sister, then he could do it to anyone. There was even a rumor he was the father of her child when she got pregnant at the age of 16. Dan the Van Schneider extended his creepy touch to the show iCarly, which premiered in September 2007. In one scene involving a guy from England, Dan oddly had the word hobknocker included. A TikToker later looked into its meaning and found some questionable results.
I swear you're all just a bunch of hobknockers.
Hobknockers?
I'm going.
So I looked up what it meant on Urban Dictionary, and what is that?
Another TikTok pointed out how uncomfortable the lead actress Miranda Cosgrove looked around him.
Look how she tries to avoid Dan by stepping back. Pay attention to how he holds her and hugs her. Look how uncomfortable Miranda looks.
In Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, she detailed how a person called the Creator gave her massages, was abusive, and pressured her to drink when she was underage. In it, she wrote, the Creator pressured her to sip his whiskey mixed with coffee and cream by telling her the Victorious cast would get drunk together all the time. It's widely believed she was referring to Dan Hold Her Tighter, She's a Fighter Schneider. McCurdy even revealed Nickelodeon unashamedly attempted to give her $300,000 as a so-called thank you gift in exchange for never talking publicly about her experience at Nickelodeon. She ended up turning it down, a decision she was proud of.
It's not happening. That sounds like hush money to me. Not doing it, not taking it. And then I do remember leaning against, I think I talk about this in the book, but I lean against my bed and I'm like, well, shoot, that could have put my nieces through college. Like, that was some good money. But I am ultimately proud of my decision there.
When the show Victorious debuted in March 2010, Dan was running off the fumes of victory, no pun intended, after iCarly was a smash hit. Now, while iCarly was catered towards kids, Victorious had more of an edgy teen vibe. The cast was also slightly older than usual, ranging from around 15 to 20 years of age. And well, perhaps that's why Dan felt he could up the sexual ante with a more mature cast. For example, he had a red-haired Ariana Grande act out disgusting scenes like this.
Sometimes I wonder if you can get juice from a potato. Is it possible for a teenage girl to drink water upside down? I'm thirsty! It's not possible!
I honestly couldn't tell if Schneider was legitimately preparing Ariana for a career on the hub in case things went south. He even had her sneak in weird sexual innuendos.
One time my brother found a vacuum cleaner in our church basement. He took it home and now he keeps it in his room.
Well, you should call the church and tell me he has it.
Oh, they wouldn't want it back.
Dan, she just turned 18, Schneider went so far as to cater to a fetish crowd by including this foot scene.
Have you ever tried to get your whole big toe in your mouth? Check this out.
He appeared to enjoy feet more than Larry Strong from House of Dragon. Off camera, Dan was known for having young girls sit in his lap and caressing them as if he was a bridge troll. In addition, he was known for constantly pushing for skimpier and skimpier costumes. Dan's petrifying behavior didn't stop there. Daniela Monet, the actress who played Trina Vega, said their outfits were not age appropriate and that she wouldn't even wear some of that today as an adult. Alexa Nicholas, an actress on Zoe 101, also mentioned Schneider was oddly present for all of her wardrobe fittings.
Whenever I had wardrobe fittings, he always had to be in them. But fast forward, when I was doing TV shows like Mad Men or Walking Dead or Cold Case, whatever the show was, I started to realize going like, oh, so the creator isn't in the room.
In addition, she revealed her biker shorts were cut one time because they were apparently too long.
I had to wear biker shorts underneath my skirts, and they had to cut the biker shorts because the biker shorts were even too long for the skirts that I had to wear.
Dan's petrifying behavior didn't stop there. According to a caller on the Revenge of the Sis talk show, he held pool parties with only child actors and not their parents.
He would have pool parties and invite all the kids over and be like, oh, we'll just take care of the kids. No adults need to come over. Whoa. So he was having pool parties with these kids that were on the shows without any kind of adult supervision going on.
Interestingly, Schneider's relationship with his writers was strained. Some of them reported he was abusive and that they were too afraid to stand up to him because of his ability to ruin their careers. Jenny Kilgan, a writer for The Amanda Show, actually filed a lawsuit citing a hostile work environment. The case was eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount of money. Kilgan actually never returned to the television industry again. It wasn't until 2013 when Nickelodeon themselves finally launched an official investigation into Schneider. It was spurred after complaints of abuse on the set of Sam and Cat. Causes for concern reportedly included Schneider's well-documented temper and his previous tweets containing photos of young female actors' toes. Yeah, that's totally not reminiscent of Silence of the Lambs. Nickelodeon's former president of content and production, Russell Hicks, denied those claims though. In March 2018, Nickelodeon finally parted ways with Dan. The legal age of consent is 16 depending on the state, Schneider. An investigation by Viacom CBS, Nickelodeon's parent company, reported he could be verbally abusive but found no evidence of sexual misconduct. He was supposedly given a $7 million payout to leave. After this, Schneider didn't work on any other projects and dropped off the radar for several years. Typical EDP 445 behavior. When asked about his exit in 2021 by the New York Times, he said, "I took a break to take care of a lot of stuff that I'd let go by the wayside for decades. Whatever I do next, I wanted to outdo what I've done in the past." Regarding his Quentin Tarantino-like obsession with feet, the article went on to state, Schneider described such allegations as ridiculous and said kids find feet goofy and funny. The comedy was totally innocent, he said. In addition, Dan mentioned he created a pilot for an unnamed television network and lost over 100 pounds. Ultimately, Dan Schneider's entire career at Nickelodeon was a shocking one. I mean, he truly defined comedy for millennials and Generation Z. Every script he touched turned to gold like he was a talented but perverted King Midas. He had so many successful shows, but his rise also fueled his demise. His importance to Nickelodeon allowed him to get away with certain, let's just say creative liberties. They just wanted to please him in order to keep their pockets full. The company turned a blind eye to what was going on for years. They even tried to pay Jeanette McCurdy hush money. That's despicable. Although Schneider adamantly repeated that he had done nothing wrong, I think at the very least he should have been aware what he was putting out. As the showrunner, it was his responsibility to make sure the talent was being portrayed appropriately on national television. Children are vulnerable and Dan should have been protecting them instead of exploiting them for his own pleasure. The kids deserve to feel safe instead of creeped out. Their job was hard enough as it was. They either had no clue what was going on or chose to ignore it in order to appease the almighty Dan Club Penguin Schneider. He flagrantly abused his power, which is not okay. He scarred the young actresses for life and terrified the writers to the point where one left the industry. Personally, I believe Schneider deserved to be fired publicly and face humiliation. Instead, he quietly slipped out with $7 million. I hope he never returns to Hollywood ever again.
He would sit in the chair and I would come out and I would do a spin, and then he would look at the wardrobe artist and say, "Can I have the Polaroids?"
I just got like a full body chill.
It's bad. And you're you know, like the thing with Dan Schneider is I don't know what's up with him, but all I do know is that he put children in vulnerable positions that he like legit wrote himself, and didn't really seem to have the care to go, hey, like maybe this looks this way,